Is President Trump not responsible, or at least the Republicans in Congress and the House not responsible, for an improvement in the stock market, an improvement in the unemployment rate?
So I'm going to rewind a little bit and talk about Obama and how he improved the economy, right? So there might be some people on the left who don't like what I say here, but it's the truth. Obama did improve the economy for those at the top. And that improvement has continued for those at the top. And let me be specific. I think that the Trump administration took a problem and unfortunately made it worse. So the tax cuts for the wealthy, that's $2 trillion in tax cuts for the very top over the next 10 years. And that is going to defund things that this country needs so desperately, including improvements to our infrastructure, including, social safety net programs that us Americans, we've paid into. People like to say that it's nothing more than a handout. I don't know. I look at my taxes. I see how much of it goes toward those programs that I should be able to take advantage of at some point in the future. But nonetheless, look, if you look at statistics that actually matter, so yes, the unemployment rate is low. What is the quality of those jobs? What do they pay? Do they pay a living wage? Are they full-time jobs? Oftentimes, they're either temporary construction jobs or they don't pay good living wages. And so if you look at consumer debt today is higher than it was at the height of the last economic collapse. We're all going into more and more debt just to be able to provide for our families and to go to school. So there are other measures of the economy that I think, unfortunately, are being ignored. They were ignored in the Obama administration. They're certainly being ignored now. And we need to find ways to improve the economy for the working class, for the middle class, for individuals who actually put their sweat and their blood into making these companies successful.
So I'll agree with you in part on Obama's economy not being as great as the Democrats like to romanticize about it. But at the end of the day, the American people are doing well under this president. The unemployment rate is down. Workforce participation is up. Median household incomes is also up. It's gone up about $5,000. And that is crumbs to Nancy Pelosi, but it's not to average Americans. Under the Bush years, it was up $400. Under the Obama years, it was up $1,000. So being that it's up $5,000 under President Trump, it is an improvement for families, and that's raising wages. So when the Democrats and you say, no, people are actually struggling, they actually are not. The incomes actually are going up. As much as people want to see, nobody's ever seeing their income go as much as they would like to have it see. But under this president, it is going up. So that, and I know you want to interrupt me, but I'm going to get to finish because you got to go on like a 3-minute diatribe there. So yes, the unemployment rate is down, workforce participation is up. We also have a president that is addressing a trade issue right now that both sides are wary about, but he's actually stepping up to address it, which many have put off because it's not politically usually favorable to address a trade war, or to engage in a trade war, to do what's necessary to get nations like China to play fair, or at least meet us in the middle, have somewhat of a level playing field. This president is doing this. He's addressing these head on. And for the Democrats, when I see him on the stage to say everyone's doing horribly under this economy, it's just not true. As Clay mentioned, the American people are doing well under this economy, which is pretty great for a president. They said that they would collapse us into another recession. That has not been the case. I know much to the Democrats' dismay, who are cheering for a recession because they'd love to beat Donald Trump, but the economy is doing well under this president.
What exactly is it that he's...
Wait, can I please answer that or respond to that? I apologize. So, one of the things that I'm concerned about, and this is genuine concern, one measure that individuals look at in order to gauge our economic success is the stock market. And one of the things that people don't realize is that these stock prices are a house of cards, because after Trump gave these massive tax cuts to the wealthy, to these corporations, I mean, the corporate tax rate used to be 35%. He lowered it to 21%, but when you consider the effective corporate tax rate, it's much lower. That's why companies like Amazon, the most profitable corporation in America, got away with paying 0 in taxes last year. So what do they do with the money that they save from those tax cuts? Do they create jobs? Well, you would think, yeah, right? That's what we keep hearing Republicans say. But in reality, they bought shares of their own stocks, corporate stock buybacks. And so those stock prices are not based on consumers stimulating the economy. They're based on corporate CEOs and executives buying shares of their own stock and artificially inflating the value. It's based on a house of cards, and we should be worried about that bubble right now.
Are you able to rebut the argument that the tax cuts that were passed by President Trump and the Republican Senate and House were effective in improving the lives of the middle class?
It was a tax cut for 80% of Americans, so yes. And I know that that's something the Democrats don't like to talk about.
But tax cuts help us. Tax cuts put people back.
Let's be respectful,
We've done really
guys.
well without booing so far, so let's not start that crap.
When people boo a tax cut, it's amazing to me. You're welcome to pay more.
But well, let me ask you about that.
You're welcome
because,
to.
Well, let me ask
No
you about
one's
that.
making you send that check. You can send it yourself. You can donate your entire income to the
Listen,
government.
if you start heckling them, I'm going to let them heckle you back, so don't heckle them.